Come on, I did it. Hey, bro, we got to get to at least 10,000. Got to get to at least 10,000.
I got water in my eyes and all over my computer.
That's what she.
Hey, feel I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up.
Welcome to Altitude Adjustment. My name is Mario Batanzi. That handsome bastard in the war room is Patrick Chiotti. And how we all doing tonight, Pat? It's been a hot minute. You know, we decided not to do a show last week because we needed a little bit of a mental break. And real quick, I will say this. You and I are so used to getting our content and our ideas stolen that it was nice to start the show by, stealing somebody else's content for once. It felt pretty good. So why don't you tell the people what we're doing this evening, Pat?
Well, first of all, Mario, it's great to see you.
You too, as always.
Tonight, we're going to be doing a fun experiment. It's draft season. Okay, we're 23 days away from watching the Denver Broncos make this team better. And so, what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be bringing you into the war room. We're going to be doing a live 7-round mock draft. Now, this isn't your normal mock draft. Okay, this isn't your run-of-the-mill two guys on a podcast. Oh, well, at fucking at pick 20, we took da-da-da-da-da. No, we're taking you straight in. So what we're going to be doing, Mario is going to be playing the role of General Mario Jenner.
Yeah,
George
I like
Payton.
it.
George
Sure.
Payton. That's George Payton.
Yeah.
Okay. I will be playing the role of Coach Sean Pat Ayton. And
This is going really well.
We're going to be playing these roles at every pick. So we'll be talking about which player makes sense at this pick. Should we trade down? Is there an opportunity for us to trade down? Is there an opportunity for us to trade up? We'll talk about this in the mindset of the coach and the GM. So it's going to be a little funny. It's going to be a little goofy. But it's also going to be, I feel like it's going to be a fun exercise because I think a lot of people go into mock drafts thinking like how they would think, not how the coach would think or the general manager would think. So contracts, those come into play. Rookie quarterbacks that we drafted last year, those come into play. We're not going to be taking a quarterback or anything like that, maybe in the late rounds, but it's going to be a fun exercise. I'm really excited for it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'd just like to point out, Pat, like you and I, we have studied this draft from a Broncos standpoint as much as anybody. Yeah. And I just want to let everybody know you're welcome for what we do. Pat and I are the ones doing the work. We put in the man hours. We've studied the film. We've read up on the prospects. So we're not asking you to do it. Pat and I are going to do the mock draft for all of you, as opposed to making you all do it and providing us with your solutions. Instead, we're going to do the noble thing and do all of the hard work for you. So without further ado, GM, head coach, let's get right into it.
Quick question before we do this. Since I'm playing the Coach Payton role, am I obligated to do a bong rip?
Allegedly, you are allegedly required, yes. Okay. You are allegedly required to do a bong rip. Absolutely.
Great. Okay, so
and here's the other thing about the exercise, Pat. Like really quick before we start, there seems to be a misconception that like George Payton can't do anything with Sean Payton's say so. Which I think is a hysterical thing to say, but just for the sake of this exercise, Pat, that's pretty much what we're going to do. So in this exercise, because Coach Pat is the coach, Pat will ultimately have final say of who is drafted.
Okay.
That's fantastic. Now we just went from a PG-13 to a rated R rating, just like that. Fuck.
There's no dick and or balls.
Yeah, I know, but I just said fuck, so.
Okay. All right. Let's get this thing going. So first off.
Oh, crap. I said it twice. Now we're definitely an R rating.
First off, we're not going to trade up to number 1. Mario, before we get this thing going, look, we got to talk. Are the Raiders a legitimate threat to take Ashton Jeanty at 6?
Yeah, 100%. In fact, I would wager to say by the time the draft rolls around, I think he'll be the betting favorite, or rather, the Raiders will be the betting favorite to draft Jeanty. Absolutely.
Now listen.
So no, Pat, we are not trading up to 5.
George, hear me out here. Hear me out,
Coach.
We send. Oh fuck.
Coach.
Listen, we send this. Now listen, we could trade back at 51 and get some more picks. I'm just throwing it out there. How do we feel about this?
We're not doing that.
Okay. Let's go then. Board's falling nice.
And for the record, like as we're waiting,
and there he goes. Great.
Very unlikely, Pat. Would you agree that in real life the Broncos are trading up unless Jeanty or Warren fall further than they were anticipating? But even so, Pat, like this is a team that really likes their draft picks.
Yeah.
And I think that something crazy would have to happen to convince them to trade up. So here's our current situation. Yeah. Okay, so go ahead and rattle off, Pat. Actually, you know what? Yeah, go ahead and scroll down. I'll just run through this really quick. Malachi Starks, I'm a huge fan of his. Plays a lot of different positions. Absolute ball hawk, dog. Can play in the slot, which I think the Broncos, like Jaquan McMillian has been good. But Starks certainly elevates that possession. He plays safety as well. He can play that like free-ranging safety that, you and I have discussed that we don't necessarily have. That being said, we spent a lot of money on Hufanga in the offseason, signed Brandon Jones last year. I would like to add a, kind of center field safety if it falls to us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very Starks is high on our board, but I think this is the conundrum now of, you want to take best player available, but there also has to be a fit. And I think with the way that this team is constructed right now, Starks isn't the best fit in terms of how much he is going to contribute. And as the 20th overall pick and a first round pick, we want the guy to contribute. So, we're not going to go with a guy like Starks right now. Obviously, Omarion Hampton is there. I think he's at the top of our board. He fills a need. I think he's a game-breaking back. We have a quarterback who, we're hoping to make that leap, and he had a fantastic rookie season despite nary having a run game. He's great in pass protection, so we don't have to keep trotting Javonte Williams out there, even though he's ineffective, just because he's a good pass blocker. Now, another option that I think we should consider here, Coach, Emeka Egbuka, absolute dog of a wide receiver. I know he's the kind of wide receiver that you like. Never saw a block that he didn't like. Now, here's the thing with Egbuka, Coach. You're taking him at 20. I don't think that there's a good chance that he can turn into a wide receiver 1. So depending on what we do long-term with Cortland Sutton, I'm just saying, Egbuka is going to be a very solid number 2 for a really long time. So if you are comfortable with taking a number 2 wide receiver at 20, and again, a receiver that very much fits what you want to do, then I'm good with that.
Sean McVay
you also want to run through a couple of the defensive linemen, but personally, the way that this board has fallen, I would prefer to wait, especially given how unbelievably deep this D-line class is. What are your thoughts?
Sean McVay's on the phone right now. And he's offering us 26, 101, and a 4th next year to move up.
I would absolutely take that. I would take that all day.
Now, look, I like the idea of adding Egbuka. I think he can play. It's not just about him being a wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2, whatever. It's about what role can he play in this offense. And I think that he can play multiple roles. I think he could play the Z if we needed him to be. He played the majority of
Which
his.
we do need a Z.
He played the majority of his snaps in college in the slot. Proved that he could win in the slot as well. Fantastic blocker on the perimeter, on screens, which we know is important. That was a big part of Lil Jordan Humphrey's role as the F and pseudo Z in this offense. And we got Trent Sherfield, but he's going to be playing a lot of special teams, so we need to keep fresh legs out there, right? Ibuka can be a guy that we can use to attack the middle. He can be a guy that we can use to attack in the slot. We can use him outside if we need to. I think he fills a lot of roles. Hampton, it'd be great. It'd be great for us to take a running back. Now we can officially just cross that off the list and move on. But I don't know. I think the trade back scenario is one that I'm really, really interested in. I think we could add some more talent to this room in premium positions. And I think I think there's a lot of players that are high on our board that we could still get in this area in the 26 range. So I don't know. What are you thinking, George? Is this enough to trade down 6 spots? Should we ask for 127 as well for a move up? I mean, who is McVay going to go get is the question. So what do you think? Should we take this trade and see what we can get?
So here's the thing. As this board has fallen, realistically, Omari and Hampton is not going to be there. I think if he is in a real life scenario, I have a hard time passing up on him. The Sean Payton offense works the best when you have a stud at running back. Preferably you have 2 guys. We have 0 guys right now. We felt so lowly about Audric Estime that he rode the pine during a playoff game where it probably would have benefited us to have a bigger back in there.
That was my fault.
If we're going as a combination of need and availability on our board, so if in terms of being the best player available, I think Hampton is the best combo. But then if we were to discuss how this would realistically go down, I don't think Hampton's there. So for the sake of this exercise, Coach, let's go ahead and accept that trade. There are plenty of really good players on the board. I don't think that we need to chomp at the bit right now because of how it's fallen. Let's go ahead and add another pick and use it on someone to make our team better.
Deal. Sounds good. Hey, Sean. Yeah, we're going to take that deal. Who did they take? Josh Simmons. Perfect. All right.
And in the break of the century, the guy that we wanted at 20 is still there at 26. Well, that's just fantastic.
That's amazing. Now, I will say, though.
Well, go ahead and talk us through, would be beyond all of this, Pat. Go ahead, run me through some of these other guys.
I think Burden.
Where you're thinking of where the Broncos conceivably could go if these guys are on the board.
I think Burden is a player that a lot of people want. There's the attitude issues that we've kind of heard, rumors. That's a little concerning. But I think this guy would be a fantastic Z in the offense. I'm not going to touch Hampton too much. Loveland would be an interesting option here. I think there's some potential upside, as we move on from Adam Troutman, probably after this season, not during this season, guys. We still need the vet in the room. But I think Loveland will be more of the role that Evan Ingram is going to be playing, right? So moving him around.
Right.
But still more traditional, he can play inline in some areas. One that would a couple of picks that would be really interesting to me here. The last 2 that I'll talk about: Gray Zabel, the lineman from North Dakota State. Ben Powers going into the final year of his deal, but this is a guy that can play 5 positions across the offensive line. If I want to upgrade our run game, George, I need to get another guy in there. I don't know if I can do another season of Luke Wattenberg. I know you like him. I know you said you talk all the time about how he's thick in the lower body. I get it. Okay. But I'm tired of it. I'm tired of yelling at his ass on Mondays. I'm tired of it. Okay.
I'm sure he's tired of getting yelled at.
I don't think he understands what I'm saying, to be completely honest with you. But Gray Zabel is one that interests me here, especially with the trade down, because we get the 5 years with him. The other one, Derek Harmon, the lineman from Oregon. We got to get bigger up front. We got to get beefier. One of the best pass rushing interior linemen in this class, if not the best. Really crazy numbers. I think he had 55 pressures or something like that. 39 hurries. GD.
Now keep in mind with Harmon, he's one of these guys who some might call it an anomaly year, but this past year he was absolutely dominant, but he didn't have a lot of those previous years to back it up. So you feel like you have to bank on the fact that he continues to build off of that one good year, and it wasn't just said an anomaly year.
Yeah. So I think here, George, if we still want Hampton, and I think we could take Hampton here and be happy we got the extra picks. Okay.
I think we would be incredibly happy with this, and I think he makes our offense incredibly dynamic. He gives Bo, a dump down option, a guy that's going to break tackles, and someone who could actually average more than 3.5 yards a carry.
Now, here's what I'll say. My only argument: Caleb Johnson would fit this offense extremely well. Extremely well.
Well, then we'll take him at 51.
We're running. Don't do that. He's an early down guy. Okay, that's what we need. We need an early down guy, and I think Caleb Johnson could be an early down guy. But I think for the sake of this, why
don't you just go ahead and get Cam Scatabo all the way the fuck off of my screen?
He's, I think he's the second best running back in this class. I think we got to take him. Yeah. So with our first pick, George, we're going to take Omari and Hampton, running back from North Carolina.
Applause.
Hey, look at us.
We got our guy.
Look at us. Hey, George, I still want a tight end.
Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, Ingram is more of a joker role. He's not going to be in line a lot. Let's go find you a guy who can catch the ball, but also doesn't mind throwing his body around a little bit. Because you and I both know Evan Ingram is much more of a slot than an inline guy. And anyone trying to say that Ingram is inline and he thrives there, well, they just don't know ball, Coach.
Hey, look, I'm really frightened that Seattle is going to take Mason Taylor if we don't get to him. You want to call up old buddy in Arizona and see if we can jump him?
Where is Mason Taylor on your board in terms of what you need?
I mean, that's pretty high priority, Coach. And
we do have Coach Carter saying
we have his former coach in the building. I really loved his metrics. I really loved his tape. I think he could be the tight end of the future. I think he'd have a great relationship with Bo as well. So
you know what, Coach? Yeah, I think we only need to go up 4 spots. Why don't we see if they'll take one of those later round picks? We don't have to give up too much, and let's go up and get our guy.
Hey, let's send them 51, 197 and a 7th next year.
Why don't you have them throw in a 225 and see how they feel about that? Is that what that is? Yeah, that 225.
Okay. They took it.
Perfect. Let's get our guy.
Great. This is the kind of trade up that we like. This is the kind of trade up that we like right here.
Really, really quick, I'd like to point out that while we value Coach Carter's opinion, he wanted us to go get Mason, pounding the table for him. He's also requesting no Scatabo slander, which is why he is not currently on this show. But we respect his opinion nonetheless.
Yeah. That was great. Hey, look at that. We got 2 of our guys. Hey, we fixed the offense. Now we got to find a defensive guy.
Okay? And you know what, Coach? The best part about this is we were able to get the best player available on our board. and they both fill probably the biggest needs that we have.
I agree. Hey, George, we're doing a great fucking job here. We're doing
Now,
good.
Coach, I would say that
Son
the
of a
next
bitch.
two.
Damn it.
What are you upset about there, Coach?
Terrence Ferguson.
Did you want to double dip at tight end and
I thought about it.
bring
Okay.
Ferguson in here?
Hey, we've got a situation now because somehow Jared Wilson is still on the board. Somehow Jared
Correct.
Wilson is still on the board. Okay?
And somehow Jordan Phillips is still on the board.
And somehow Jordan Phillips is still on the board. Let's take a quick peek at the defensive lineman here. Okay. Whoa. Hey now. Hey now. I'm good with any 1, 2, 3, 4 of these guys.
And just so everybody is
your
clear,
pick.
we are not cool with Deion Walker.
I mean, I like him, but not here.
Not even remotely close to here.
Not here.
Yeah. And here's the thing, Coach. Jordan Phillips would be a fantastic add. Little bit shorter arms, but he also can play just about every position on the defensive line. And so, what he doesn't have in that arm length, he more than makes up for in his motor, and also his violent hands. Something that I really like about Jordan Phillips here. Now, if you're okay with waiting, depending on how much you like Phillips there, I think Jamari Caldwell is much more that big-bodied force that we need. He's not a guy that's going to really get after the quarterback a lot here, Coach, but he's going to be able to push the line of scrimmage and allow our edge defenders to actually set an edge. Our biggest problem here on the defensive line is a lack of beef. Okay, we have some absolute studs, but we are just a little thin in the pants. So if you want to wait for a guy like Caldwell, or even a guy like JJ here, I think that is the move. So unless you feel really good about Jordan Phillips here, why don't we take a look at some offers?
Okay.
Why don't we take a look at some offers? Yeah.
Green Bay wants to move up a couple of picks. Houston. New Orleans is calling. I don't feel like doing them any favors right now. Those sons of bitches didn't answer when I wanted to call for 9. Fuck you, Andy. What do you think? Houston?
I can't see the numbers here, Coach. You're gonna have to help me.
Sorry. Houston at 89. They have our 7th round. They have our 7th round pick, it looks like, but they don't really have much to offer outside of that. I kind of want to get a couple of picks.
Why don't Coach? Yeah, why don't we drop down a little bit further and get a little bit more in return?
Hey, Seattle has 92, 137, 172, 175. Let's see. Let's try to get.
Why don't you throw in? Why don't you throw in a 3rd or 4th rounder for next year from them?
Oh, they're
okay. Yeah, they don't want to do that. Oh, all right. They're going to play a little bit of hardball.
Hey, what if we did a? We send them our 2027 6th, and they send us Cleveland's 2026 6th. How's that?
Well, why don't you bump that up to a 5th next year for them?
Well, if that's the case, then I want. Let's just swap 5ths next year. Let's just swap it.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Deal. Call it in.
Accepted. They took it, idiots. Oh, fuck.
Well, but we figured Phillips would go.
Yeah. Okay. Oh.
Now here's an interesting discussion that I want to have with you, Coach.
Yeah. Talk to me.
We do need another wide receiver.
Yeah.
And if you scroll down there a little bit, I think you will see a guy who has an incredibly high ceiling,
Tez
but
Johnson,
a little bit of a low floor. In Savion Williams.
Bo already talked to me about Tez. I told him not a fucking chance.
It's fantastic. I'm glad that you had that conversation with him, so I didn't have to.
I told him I already did you a solid last year by trading up for Troy. Okay, if we take Tez Johnson and we go back to Buffalo for the playoffs, he's going to blow away before kickoff. What do you mean? I can't put him on the field.
Yeah, and I also let him know that Coach Carter is a full 30 pounds heavier than Tez Johnson here.
I don't know, man.
If we are considering wide receiver, and we certainly can wait, big Torrey Horton fan, big Kyle Williams fan. None of those guys, though, Pat, has what Savion Williams has. And that is just the sheer size to go with explosiveness and athletic ability. His lack of production does worry me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But you talk about a guy who, once he kind of finally found his stride, I mean, former quarterback, so he knows that he understands that part of the game. He's a kick returner if we ever want Marvin to be a full-time wide receiver. And once Savion really came into his own, he became an absolute star. Now, it is a little bit of a risky pick, but because we've traded back again and we've stockpiled some picks, this might be a good time to take a shot. Because as you can see, after Savion, there's a pretty decent drop-off in wide receivers. You know, I'm a big Torrey Horton fan, but he's coming off that injury. We don't know if he's going to lose any of his explosiveness. I'm a big Kyle Williams fan, but I think he's just more of a really solid guy. One of the big knocks in this class, Coach, is that there are not a lot of wide receiver ones. And I think if Savion Williams can continue on this trajectory, because he has size and speed that you simply cannot teach. Like, to put it into perspective, he is about as big and as fast as Demaryius Thomas when he was coming out.
You know who I had in New Orleans? Do you know?
And you had a lot of guys in New Orleans, Coach. Yeah,
I had Ted Ginn. Okay, I brought him in. I saw what that dude could do. Okay, I like speed. I like size. I could work with that. I could mold that. Now look,
and right now, Coach, keep in mind we have guys that are either big or fast. We don't have a big and fast guy.
Listen. I don't know what is going on with Court, but I'm sick of his shit. You either take the $10 million that I'm offering you, or I'll move you.
I wouldn't hold your breath.
Simple as that. No, I think
we're getting a little bit of fan input here, Coach. William is requesting Isaiah Bond. Would you like to tell him no, or should I?
I'm good.
William, we appreciate we appreciate you listening, and thank you for your input.
I like a project. You know, I want to make sure that Marv, Mims. Look, when you watch the tape, Savion Williams just pops out. Big contested catch guy as well. I'm down with taking a risk. Should we take that risk?
You know I'm incredibly high on Williams, Coach. I'm good here.
Done.
Coach Carter would like us to know that if Caldwell's not a lock at 101, he is quitting his internship and leaving for a new team. So why don't we go ahead and pull those interior defensive linemen up right now?
I say we do it.
There's another guy that Coach Carter is pounding the table for. And keep in mind, Coach, this is a beefy boy. This is exactly what we need on our defensive line. We have guys that can get after the quarterback. We have guys that can help the edge guys set the edge. We just need a big, thick body to plug up that middle. And I think that's exactly what Caldwell can give us. I know you're interested in trading back here. I think at this point...
2 spots.
I think at this point... Okay.
2 spots, and we get 188. And
we're giving up that
send them 225.
Go ahead and pull the trigger on that.
I found this on the web.
We'll bounce back into the 4th round.
Shut up.
Siri, nobody asked you.
Oh my God, they traded up to take Tez. It's Troy Franklin all over again.
Oh, that's fantastic. Tennessee is going to be in hell for a long time.
All right, I'm good.
There you go,
I'm good if
Coach
you're
Carter.
good.
You do not have to resign. Jamari Caldwell is a Denver Bronco. I feel fantastic about that pick, Coach. Why don't you pull up how we're looking so far?
Absolutely. Listen, look, when you talk about what we did well on offense last year, I think a lot of our runs were good runs. We just had poor execution. Hampton's going to
I think a
be
lot of our good runs were because of Bo, Coach.
Hampton is going to be transformative in this offense. Mason Taylor is a guy that we can bring along. Look, I'm going to run some 4 tight end sets this year. Okay, if we're
Holy
counting
shit.
Evan Ingram as a tight end, I'm going to count him I'm going to count him, and we're going to run some 4 tight end sets. Okay, just in certain situations, not all the time. Savion Williams, I think 6'5", 225 with that speed, good contested catch guy. I think we could bring him along.
And he's trending in the right direction. That's the important part. Real quick, Coach, William wants to know, do you like
love him.
Travion Henderson? Love Travion
Love
Henderson.
him. Love him. Nothing
Do
against
not
him.
love him as much as Omari and Hampton, and there's a reason that Hampton will not make it past 20, because I firmly believe if he actually drops to the Broncos that he's not getting past them. I'm also pretty much convinced that he's going top 15. So if and when they miss out on Omari and Hampton, William, absolutely, I love Travion Henderson. I have not yet been convinced that they should take him at 20, like has been thrown around a little bit, and I think that's a little bit of draft fatigue, especially the mock draft fatigue here. I do love Travion Henderson. I think ideally, like the highest that I would take him, I think, is if you trade back to like 30 or 32, one of these back end teams. Like if Philadelphia were to trade up and you have the last pick of the first round, I'm okay with taking Henderson there. You get the 5th-year option, which is a running back, is nice to have. But anything before that, I think, is a little too rich for Travion Henderson. Coach, how are we looking right now?
Oh, we're looking good.
And let's keep in mind here, Coach, like everything that we do really from here on out, this is just going to kind of be the icing on top. We've got the meat and potatoes, Coach. Let's go ahead and add some side dishes.
We've got 3 4th-round picks. How did we do this? Okay. Look, I think.
Coach, how do you like a guy like Jack Kaiser? Typical Notre Dame linebacker, like not the most athletic guy, but a true blue leader and a playmaker. But keep in mind, Coach, like in this defense that we're running, the linebackers don't have to be large.
No, I know.
VJ can do a lot with undersized linebackers.
I'm also thinking, what if we added another defensive back to this room? What do
you have in mind, Coach?
Look, Moss played great for us. Mathis didn't get a whole lot of snaps last year. He's also in the final year of his deal.
Yeah, there's a good chance Mathis doesn't make this team, Coach.
I feel like we've got to add a little bit of depth, either at corner or at safety. I know we talked about taking a safety in the first round.
Coach, I know you're really high on Zy Alexander here, and I am as well. Fantastic ball skills.
Boy, howdy. Williams
honestly,
had 7 interceptions last year. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and honestly,
Quincy Riley
Zy might be the most underrated corner in this class.
Yeah. I think we could stand to add one. But I don't know. What are you thinking? Because we got some interesting options here. I think Upton Stout is a fun prospect, but maybe not here at 122. So this is just our options here at corner and safety and linebacker. I like Kaiser. I love Alexander. Billy Bowman Jr. as well from the University of Oklahoma. Boy, this kid can come downhill. He can cover the flats really, really well.
And remember, Coach, like I am here for the depth, and I know that Brandon had a great year last year, and it was a little bit above his head. Hopefully, that was the system that VJ runs.
Yeah.
And I know that Hufanga has had a little bit of, obviously the injury stuff in the past, but we might want to consider, like we had discussed earlier, one of those free safety type or center field type of free safeties, and one of those roaming free safeties, because we have two guys that can kind of like come down into the box, hit the shit out of you.
Yeah,
I think ideally we want to find a different breed of safety at this point.
Well, Bowman's got almost 400 snaps deep last year, and the year before that over 400. I think that would be a fun get. I like what Oklahoma's...
Coach, let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
Any offensive linemen that we need to be taking a look at?
Let's take a peek. Let's take a peek here. There's going to be a few.
Coach, I love Willie Lampkin because he's hilariously short and has laughably long arms.
Just a bunch of dog in him. I tell you what, guys just as tall as I am. I like it.
And his arms are about twice as long as ours.
I don't know. Luke Kandra, if we want to talk about maybe, moving on from Powers. Also, Seth McLaughlin's here. We don't need to start him right away. He doesn't need to come in and take reps right away. He can recover, come along. I don't know.
Well, and Coach, keep in mind that if it wasn't for the injury, McLaughlin arguably is the best center in this class, and not only the best center in this class, but maybe the best center by a pretty wide margin.
I don't know. What do you think? Should we take a chance on him?
I think it's still a little bit early, Coach. I think his medicals are scaring away a lot of teams. I don't think we need to reach right now. Why don't you just go ahead with the player that you have highest on your board currently, who's obviously your buddy Dylan Gabriel?
That fraud. That absolute fraud. That's actual Coach Pat. Okay, hang on now. Do we want to add to the edge room? We've got 3 picks here.
Correct.
We've got 3 picks in the 4th, so we could add some good talent here.
We've done a fantastic job of trading back and also trading up and stockpiling picks. I mean, to be perfectly honest, Coach, we are putting on an absolute fucking clinic right now.
I agree. Look, I'm fine with adding a linebacker with one of these 3 picks, but I think this should be where we add some depth to the secondary. So I think we should go with Zai Alexander, 6'2", 194. He's got the length, good ball skills, great production, really low passer rating when thrown too. I think
tough to miss on a DB from LSU, Coach.
Yeah, and I think that having him and Moss would be a good combination, because we'd be able to, we would have a guy that we can bring along. Doesn't have to be the guy out the gate, but it's also insurance for if Riley goes out again with another injury.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and Coach, this is what's great, is having options, right? Like we think that Abrams drain, like if McMillian, if we don't retain him past this year, since he was an ERFA, or if he doesn't take that next leap, could Abrams drain play in that slot? Could we maybe move Riley over into the slot? If Zai develops, could he be outside on the other side of Pat? So I like this pick a lot. I think it gives us a lot of freedom, and Zai can play special teams. Really good size for a corner, and I think this is excellent value here.
All right. Now, how do we feel about adding another running back with one of these picks?
Well, Coach, the guys that I'm looking at, I'll tell you this. I am incredibly high on Bashal Tutin, fastest running back in the class. I think he's what a lot of people want McLaughlin to be, and what some people think McLaughlin is. Had a few issues with fumbles, Coach, but on this list here, I have the highest grade on Brashard Smith by a pretty wide margin. In terms of how he fits our offense, I know that you like your running backs able to catch the ball. Brashard was a converted wide receiver. So think Tyrone Tracy last year, but better and a little bit more explosive. And we saw the success that Tracy had out in New York with that dog shit of a team. So I think we already got our bell cow in Hampton.
Yeah.
Brashard, and not only an excellent pass catcher, coach, one of the best blocking running backs in this class. This is your stereotypical perfect Sean Payton third down running back.
Sold. Got me.
And he can play in the slot if we need him to, coach.
Hey, I love going into empty.
This might be the greatest. This might be the greatest mock draft that has been done. It almost doesn't matter. Like, I think the only thing that could ruin this is if we take Dylan Gabriel at some point.
I'm not touching that short little fuck. Not a chance. Someone called him left-handed Russell Wilson, and I said he wishes he had the arm strength of Russell Wilson. My God.
Yeah, honest to God.
Look, McLaughlin's still here. McLaughlin's still here. Are we drafting a punter? We could. We could.
Or we could just sign a dude from the UFL.
True. Jonah Monheim is also here. That's a name that kind of intrigues me a little bit. Big sumbitch.
Coach, what which of these guys, because Jonah's a little bit of a better athlete. Seth is a little bit more of a technician. Jonah definitely needs to get stronger.
Yeah. I don't want to deal with
certainly not opposed to going center because you and I both know that Wattenberg is not long for this world. Then I'm absolutely fine with it. This is what's nice, coach. We have all of the holes. And at this point, it's really just
you lagged.
I mean,
you lagged
again,
so
it's
bad.
Icing on the cake.
You just lagged so bad.
Yeah, that was. I'm seeing it. I don't know what's going on with my internet connection here.
The goddamn war room needs to reset their modem. Look, I'm good with taking McLaughlin here. I wouldn't hate it.
Walton Penner group to pay for.
Oh no, it's happening. He's crashing. I'm gonna do the rest of the mock draft. Hey now.
And wife.
Tell her to shut off the Wi-Fi.
By here.
Tell her to shut off the Wi-Fi. This is ridiculous. What kind of Mickey Mouse Wi-Fi do you have? My God. Not here, but I wouldn't mind taking this guy. So maybe we can shelve the guard talk until the later rounds. There's also Jake Majors. I wouldn't mind going center here. But looking at the linebackers.
Can you hear me?
Now I can. Barely. But you're frozen. It's rough out here. Oh, Danny Stutzman is still available. That would be a fun pick as well. That would be a fun pick. I don't know if we just want to add. If we want to add a guy. If we want to add a guy to the linebacker room, and he doesn't have to play right away, he can play special teams. I wouldn't hate this. I wouldn't hate that one bit. Edge room looks kind of sad now. Savion Jones though. A 15.1 pass rush win rate. I like that. I like that quite a bit. He's got some moves. I think we could add. An edge. We could add another pass rusher here. I'm just not super impressed with the rest of these interior linebackers. We'll wait for the GM to get back in here. This is absolutely ridiculous that our GM can't figure out his internet issues, but it is what it is. Let us know in the comments what you think of the mock draft so far. I think it's going very well, minus the fact that our GM is not in the room. I think we've hit pretty well. We filled a lot of holes. We've done a lot of good. I think right now we're just focused on adding depth and adding guys that can play special teams and develop into eventual starters, especially with this last 4th round pick. That's kind of where what we're adding here. How funny would it be if I just took like Quinn Ewers and then Mario comes back and sees it? Should I? Chat, should I? Or Riley Leonard? Oh my God, he'd shit his pants. I'm not going to do Gabriel because that's just too predictable. But if I took, oh fuck, he's back. Damn it. Hello? Oh no. He's dying. Chat, he's dying. Y'all have hella picks. Do Ewers. I'll do Ewers. Let's do it. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I can't. My gut is my mind's telling me no. Just for the laughs. Honestly, since he's taken so long, I'm just gonna. He'll be available. He'll be available in the 6th. I promise. This next year's Joe Milton. Oh my God. Yeah, everybody's gonna want to trade for Quinn Ewers after spending 1 season with Sean Payton. That would be hilarious. If we are talking seriously about quarterbacks, though, like they're not going to draft a quarterback, I don't think, especially after signing Ellinger, which signing Ellinger, hilarious. Oh my God, there he is. I almost took Quinn Ewers because
I would have reached right through here and slapped you.
What happened? Your internet just shut off?
I wish that I knew. I pay a lot of money for my internet, and we've never had an issue before, but here we are.
Damn. I was about to talk about quarterbacks. I know that they brought in Max Brosmer for a visit, which looking at like what he was able to do, he hit a lot of stuff over the middle of the field. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's like a UDFA camp guy. And I know there was some interest with Graham Mertz. Brady Cook had some interesting throws, but he was awful. He was supposed to be so good this last year, and he fell off. So you have had glitchy. Yes.
I'm on my phone, so we're doing our best right now, Coach.
We're doing good. Okay. I was gonna say for linebackers, I don't know. I think we should take one here. Maybe Stutzman or Kobe King. I don't know. We just need a guy that we can develop and have play special teams. But Kobe King is kind of interesting. 6'1", almost 250. Pretty good grades. Stutzman, I know he's got. He's big. That's a big boy. 6'4", 241. Really good run defender.
Stutzman, he's a big, nasty guy. Sorry, I have to focus back in and channel my inner calm George Payton. Like I thought we were doing such a good job in our character, and all this bullshit really threw me off. So let me recenter.
Yeah.
So Coach. I think we really like Stutzman, but I don't think there's really no wrong call here. So since you're Sean Payton and you have full dominion over the GM, Coach, I'm going to go ahead and let you have final say.
I like guys that can come downhill, and we need to get better in the run. We need to get better against the run. That's why we brought in Greenlaw. Dre's a great player. He's been a great player. I think that this would be a solid pick for us. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. It's not going to be highly graded by PFF. Fuck them. But I think we'll be fine. We're going to fast forward.
I think that's a good place to pull a trigger on a guy like that, Coach.
I agree. I think,
really worst case scenario, he can fill in. He can fill in when he needs to. He'll be a really good special teamer, very high energy
on
guy,
rundowns.
Really good locker room guy. Teammates love him.
A real lunch pail type guy.
I mean, if we can
First
turn
one in, last one
Alex
out.
Singleton into what he's become, I think we'll be okay
Well-
with Stutzman.
Well, what kind of guy is Alex Singleton? We're not going to talk about that.
Well, I don't think we need to have that discussion publicly.
Okay. What about we're in the 6th now. We've got 3 picks left, folks. Bear with us.
Coach, I like Jack Nelson a lot, Coach.
I like
he
Jack
is
Nelson
a he is a big boy. He is one of your typical Wisconsin offensive linemen. He's not going to jump off the page, but he is as solid as they come. Very well could be a Garrett Bowles replacement as early as next year.
I'm good with that. Let's take him. That's a fire pick there.
That's a fantastic pick.
Now, Jonah's still on the board. If we're talking about he needs to add more strength, I think I'm good with waiting with Forsyth. I think I'm good with waiting for Forsyth. I think there's an opportunity he can get a little better in pass pro this year, but he was still decent. He wasn't the best at pass pro, but man,
Coach,
he was.
Hopefully you have the foresight for Forsyth.
God, I hope so. We could double dip at Wisconsin here and take our boy Hunter Wohler.
I'm going to tell you this, Coach. If we're wanting to target a safety here, I think it's got to be Malachi.
Malachi Moore. Okay.
I think he is the type of safety that we do not have right now.
Okay. I'm good with that. I like that pick. Alabama guy. That doesn't
Can't go wrong with an Alabama defensive back.
All right, last pick coming up.
Now, Coach,
do we want to trade down?
If you, I was just going to say, if you'd like to trade back, Joey Dix up in the house. Hey, Joey, thanks for joining us. Almost an hour into the show.
Joey Dix.
That's my brother, Joey Dix. Paul, thank you for listening, Paul, and we'll address this really quick. Tez, the answer to the question, Tez, is a very clear and concise fuck no.
Tez Johnson was taken
now,
at the
Pat,
end of the 3rd round.
Coach Carter had posted the question earlier, should we draft a punter? Now, if you'd like to trade back here, maybe we add like 2 7ths or, a late 6th and a 7th and eventually take a punter. I think that would be fantastic. Shout out Joey Dix. Go ahead, like the stream. Top tier content is happening. And if there's anyone that knows about content, it's Joey Dix.
Okay, listen, here is the offer. Cleveland is offering
Dude is just knee deep in trim nonstop.
Cleveland is offering to send us 216 and 254 for 208, along with Deshaun Watson.
Well, why don't we go ahead and take Deshaun Watson all the way the fuck out of there? And you.
Whoa, hey, they're offering us Jerry Jeudy. Should we take this? I'm just kidding.
Yourself a deal.
Let's get we could get a 7th for Seattle 7th next year from Cleveland to move down to 216 for 208.
Coach, let me tell you this. I would very much like 2 more picks, even if we don't go after a punter.
Okay.
I think we could take a look at some depth on the line, and you know what? I wouldn't mind adding a blocking tight end because we do only have Taylor as of now. I think if we look at a guy like, I think that's perfect. I'd like to take a look at a guy like Dipper, who I don't think is going to go much sooner than all of this, who is purely a blocking tight end. I think you'll really like. He's basically an additional left tackle out there.
Okay. Hang on now. I think we got to take our boy Jackson Slater. I think we got to take that.
I think both of our guys are right there. Yep. I think Jackson Slater here is incredible value. I think he could easily take over for Powers next year if he needs to.
Oh,
And we have a very good hit rate on small school interior offensive lineman, Coach.
Dippery
Well, you
gone.
don't. I do.
Dippery gone. Fuck, Ty Robinson gone too. Gadsden gone.
Well, we have a Gadsden. All right, let's take a look here, Coach. Last pick of the draft. Well, of our draft.
We could get.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, Coach. I have not researched punters
Now, we did have a couple of correspondents
at all
down at the Senior Bowl.
Mostly because I'm holding on to the fact that we can just sign a UFL guy.
Yeah. We did have a couple of correspondents down at the Senior Bowl. They said that the Florida punter was, quote unquote, booming the shit out of balls. And that would be Crawshaw.
Now, Coach, keep in mind that one of our correspondents was in fact fuckboy Frankie. So let's just keep that in mind.
Whoa. Hey now. Now you said a blocking tight end. Okay, that's interesting. I don't really see anyone here that. Yeah, no. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that ain't it.
6'6", 263.
Coach, who was the tight end that you were incredibly high on? Is he even on PFF's board here?
No, I don't think so.
Washington tight end.
Yeah, Kaliki.
We actually had a top 30 visit with.
Yep. Big motherfucker. 6'7", 250.
Pretty sure he's some big Samoan dude.
Yeah, he's the brother of the Latu that was drafted last year.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you know in the comments, Andy, if anyone in here, it'd probably be Andy or Carter. If you know the Washington tight end Latu that we're talking about, if you can remember his first name,
they brought
go
this
ahead and
guy
chime
in. They brought this guy in for a visit, Trey Wettig.
That's a big boy.
6'7", 319.
That's a big boy.
We brought him in for a visit. He's still on the board. What do you think?
Well, it's a large human.
Double dip at tackle. Get Frank Crum
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Can we take a look at the receivers here real quick? See if there's a situational guy that
off the board.
Yeah, Kyron Lacy is all the way no, and if you don't know why, then you might need to educate yourself a little bit. Is Tesla still Tesla?
No.
However we're pronouncing it, is he long gone?
Long gone.
You know, I don't hate Rock Taylor here, Coach. You know, one of these typical Memphis, like hyper athletic Memphis guys.
Yep. Let's take a look at the quarterbacks really quick.
Thank you, Andy. Kaleki Latu. That sounds about right. Big Samoan.
Yep.
That's why Andy will be joining us for the next segment of Engage 8 coming in 2 weeks. Fun little teaser there. Andy will be with us.
Do you want to?
Nope, I absolutely do not. I don't want Shiloh Sanders anywhere near my team. Please and thank
you. Wow.
Nope, we want to draft good players, Coach.
Wow. Do you want to add another pass rusher here?
I think at this point an edge would be nice. You know, I know we're of the mindset that you should always be adding edges. But Coach, I think the people that are really high on that, I don't think that they appreciate Dondre Tillman nearly as much as they should.
No, they don't. Not nearly as much. I don't know. What do you think? Edge rusher, tackle, safety. Let's see. We still don't have a lot of tight end options, or we could just go with a punter. Crawshaw.
You know, at this point, might as well just get a punter.
Deal. Hey, look at that.
And that will do it. Let's
That's
go
an
ahead and
entire
remind everybody.
7-round mock draft.
We do not give one red cent shit about the grade of PFF.
This is actually a fantastic class, I feel.
Malachi Moore getting an F at the end of the sixth
That's
is
crazy.
diabolical.
That's crazy to me.
Salter late six getting a C plus is diabolical.
If Denver came away, and chat, let us know, because if Denver came away with this class and made these moves in the
And
draft,
what were the picks that we ended up adding for next year? Like, what did we give up and what did we add for 2026?
We ended up adding a fourth, a fifth, and that was
But
it.
we swapped fifths, right?
Yeah, we swapped fifths.
Okay. That sounds fantastic.
We sent a seventh next year.
Yeah, so let's just break this down real quick, chat. Omarion Hampton, again, if you were here with us earlier, Pat and I actually traded back and we still got him. Oh, we don't think that that's realistic, but for this exercise, it's like that's what we were given, so that's what we did. I don't think Hampton's going to be there in real life. In fact, I think the Broncos are going to be in a little bit of a tough way here. Jeff Legwold, who covers the Broncos and is a correspondent for ESPN, said that a lot of the GMs that he has spoken to only have about 15 guys who they have first round grades on in this draft, and so 20 is a tough spot. I know it's really popular, Pat, for people to be like, "Oh, we got to trade back. We got to trade back. We got to trade back." And we've discussed this, but I want to reiterate: there's two problems. The problems are twofold here with trading back. One, you need to find a team willing to trade up, and to find a team that was willing to trade up, you have to hope that a good player falls to 20. So, so the first problem is, can you find a good enough player to trade back with, or to trade back for? Is someone going to trade up for that good player? And if they do, are you willing to trade back and miss out on said player? Yes, John BPA, we've been preaching that. That's exactly what we're saying. Mason Taylor in the second round. Here's what's funny about PFF, Pat. He will probably go sooner than this, or he will go right around 47. And PFF giving it an F, it just goes to show that their algorithm is flawed. Okay, Mason Taylor, I think, is the second best all-purpose tight end. He's not the pass catcher that Loveland is. He's much better in line. He's a better blocker. I think he has a little bit more of that subtle nuance to his game that you have to have as a tight end. It's like, if you want to be a really productive tight end, and when you and I talked to Nate Jackson, this is the kind of tight end he said the Broncos needed. Evan Ingram is fantastic. Evan Ingram is a really, really good slot receiver who can be in line. Mason Taylor is the kind of tight end that Nate Jackson was referring to, a tight end in his own right, that can block and can also catch passes. Gunnar Helm is also going to be an option. Terrence Ferguson, obviously an option. Those guys, more so than your Lovelands, your Fannons, your Gatstons, are going to be more in line. Those other guys, a little bit more pass catchers, a little bit less physical. And then, Savion, I'm a really big fan of. And at this point, Pat, where you're taking Savion, I think his ceiling is so high because of his natural ability. He's one of these guys. I think he's the only guy that could fall to the third round and ultimately become a wide receiver one of a team. But then his floor is also kind of low. Yeah.
Well, I mean, at his size too, you should be able to teach that guy how to block at the next level. And if that's the case, then you've got yourself an X there. We got to remember that a lot of the receivers that Sean Payton has made successful over the years have not been first-round picks. Michael Thomas was not a first-round pick. Old buddy Meacham, not a first-round pick. He was a seventh-round
pick. Marcus Colston, not a first-round pick. Was Brandon Cooks?
Brandon Cooks was a first-round pick.
Who was?
Brandon Cooks was a first-round pick.
Yeah, I think he was the only first-round wide receiver that Sean ever took, if I'm not mistaken. Chad, if we're wrong, go ahead, and if I'm wrong, go ahead and correct me.
He took
No?
No. I think Meacham was the guy he took in the first round.
I think Meacham was a first rounder.
I'm pretty sure he was.
That sounds crazy.
Pretty sure.
I mean, anyway, I think I think that's like at that point, Pat, I think that's a really good pick. Pat and I are also really high on Jaden Higgins. So if we don't trade up for Mason Taylor, for the sake of that exercise, we love Jaden Higgins. I think Higgins is the quintessential X or Z in this offense.
No,
there's not or X. There's not a lot that he doesn't do incredibly well. And I think he has a better chance of being like a wide receiver one than an Emeka Egbuka. And that's not a knock on Egbuka. I think Egbuka is like the most well-rounded wide receiver. Like he's just the guy that does everything well, but it isn't like incredible at any one thing. And that's not a bad thing. Like it's really hard to find a well-rounded receiver. But honestly, like I would rather take Higgins at 51 than Egbuka at 20 personally.
Interesting.
And then, of course, we got my favorite player in the class, Brashard Smith. Pat, that's one of these guys, like, if the Broncos take Brashard Smith, who was, of course, he was my fallback after Nicholas Singleton. I was devastated that he decided to go back to school like a loser. Like, make your money, young blood, but whatever. But I had to.
He's probably making money.
I had to. Oh, no, for sure. But I had to find my Singleton replacement, and I think that was Brashard Smith. I love Tyrone Tracy coming out last year, and honestly, like, really wish the Broncos would have taken him over Estime. And as I think about it, Pat, makes no sense to me why they didn't. Again, former wide receiver, fantastic catching the ball out of the backfield. I don't know if they were worried about like him toting the rock consistently as like a bell cow just because he didn't have a lot of like experience as a running back. Mm-hmm. But then you saw how well Tyrone Tracy did with a bad offense, a bad offensive line, bad team. He was arguably one of the best picks of that entire round, and the Broncos could have had him instead of Estime. That's Brashard Smith for me, but I think Brashard Smith is better at this point than Tyrone Tracy was at this point last year. So if that's like your third down running back, Pat, and you only need to get him like 8 to 12 touches a game, he is more of a like that game breaker than Hampton. So anybody worried about Hampton not being a big play back, which is kind of funny, but they're out there, Brashard Smith can be that guy.
Yeah. I think we did a great job in this class of, filling those holes. But also
I have no regrets.
Drafting developmental guys who could be, average to above average starters or contributors. I think, you're going to have guys like Malachi Moore and Stutzman playing on special teams. I think we did a great job of boosting the offensive line depth and getting some options like Jack Nelson. If they're going to be running more zone, perfect. Like that's a great way to get Jack Nelson involved. Even if you're using him as the extra lineman, shout out to Matt Peart. Jackson Slater is a guy that I know a few of the LTB guys love. That's a dude that, you could bring along. If you're going to invest in your coaching staff like Sean Payton is with Zach Strief, and you're going to give him the title of assistant head coach, you plan on having that guy around for a while, and you plan on having him develop these players. So I think that's the big thing that we're going to be seeing, right? And especially with guys like Alex Palczewski, who's already on the roster and did a great job filling in when he needed to. So I think we did a great job in filling a lot of the depth needs. We got a punter, hallelujah. We don't have to watch old lefty buddy kick, but
bring Marquette King back after the UFL season. That's going to be my next agenda to push. I'm gonna keep an eye on him in the UFL and see how he's doing. If for anything, I just want him and D-Mac. I want him and D-Mac to have beef. Pat, okay,
you want them to have beef?
Remember that when he was here, And like little
You keep cutting
short
out.
chubby D-Mac was kind of happened all of camp, and I'm pretty sure we had a fake quarterback controversy going on, and Marquette King versus D-Mac was still the most compelling thing that happened in all of training camp.
It's awful. Why are you beefing with a punter? Guy kicks balls for
That's
a
what,
living.
bro.
Leave him
That's what I'm
alone.
saying. And still, he's tough talking him like, dude, look at him and look at you. What are you tough talking this
That's
guy
an
for, man?
athlete.
Who are you?
Athlete. I watched Marquette King. I was at that first game when he was warming up. Man, that dude could kick. Shout out to Tom McMahon, who ruined his fucking career. Yeah, good job, man. That
Yeah.
dude can still boot a football.
Tom McMahon never ever
Or Tom McMahon. Yeah.
ever should have had a job.
No, fuck that guy.
Really quick, Pat, I wanna do this before we get out of here. Like obviously, well, I'm just gonna do this. Is let's go ahead and get this out of here. It's time for everybody's favorite segment, Pat.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna do something a little bit different here, Pat. Instead of me saying what's directly bricking me up, I'm gonna throw you a curveball.
Okay.
Has me bricked up right now is the fact that Pat is bricked up over Burton. As you all know, I'm not the biggest Michael Burton fan.
Oh my god.
And it's not really his fault. I think a big problem is they don't use him the way that they should, as much as they should. So every time that Burton gets a touch, of course, I have Pat in the group chat telling me to get fucked because, oh my God, Burton actually did something. So if you tuned into our last show, I was teasing the idea that I would love Audric Estime to just put on 20 pounds. Then he would be the same weight as Burton, same size as Burton. And he could be the fullback. He could be like when Peyton Hillis got drafted because he was technically a fullback. But they re-signed Burton. So I think if anybody should also be bricked up aside from Pat, it's Audric Estime because now he doesn't have to gain 20, 25 pounds to play fullback. But I just wanted to take the opportunity before you had a chance, Pat. It has me bricked up that you're bricked up over Burton. Because I think you're one of 8 people in Broncos land who's legit excited that Burton is back. Oh, what were we gonna do without Michael Burton in his 7 plays a game? Thank God that guy's back.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Are you finished? Okay.
I'm finished. That's it. That's
Fullback is arguably one of the most important positions in the offense.
You are a laugh riot.
Okay. The run game is not the same. If Sean is doing this blend of zone and gap that he's been doing, you still got to be able to run gap extremely well. And the best way to do that is with a really good fullback. And that's what my boy Mike Burton brings. He's a thick boy. He's a big guy. He plays special teams. He plays special teams. He's out there busting his ass, catching passes. Hey, he had to deal with Russell Wilson. Okay. He had to deal with all of that shit. And all he wants to do is go out there and throw blocks. That's all he wants to do.
That's all he can do, Pat.
And you know what? He's damn good at it too.
Okay.
He keeps getting money. He keeps getting money. He keeps coming back. And you know what?
They might as well. We had somebody in the chat keep saying JJ Pegues. They might as well just draft him and put him at fullback.
I'm going to tell you something right now.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you something.
Tell me something.
I'm going to tell you something right now. Okay?
You do it.
You don't talk. You don't say those things about Michael Burton, okay? He's a saint. Not literally anymore, but Darren Rizzi's on the team now, and we're going to see a fake punt, fullback dive. I guarantee it. 4th and 2, fullback dive. 4th and 1, fullback dive. goal line, fullback dive, and don't you fucking forget it. Don't you fucking forget it.
You're doing, Bob. It's fucking hilarious.
I love it. I love the fact that Burton's back. I do think that Adkins could eventually take over that role. I think so. You just don't have the luxury that I have. You don't have it. I'm gonna do that every time now.
And I'm going to lose my shit every time. My name is Mario Batanzi. That is Patrick Chiotti. Make sure that you join us next week. I have no fucking clue what we're going to talk about because it is a dead period, and we don't steal content aside from the the very hilarious cold open that we did. Pat and I pride ourselves in not stealing content, so you can bet your bottom dollar that now that we've done this mock draft, there will be plenty of other people doing mock drafts that follow, which means that Pat and I once again are gonna have to come up with original content by this time next week. But you can bet your bottom dollar that we are going to do it because we are the best in the biz at that. And in case you missed the announcement, in 2 weeks' time, 2 weeks, Pat, which is a week and a half before the draft, we will be doing the third installment of Engage 8. I'm going to be honest with you. I hit the wrong one. Let's Engage 8. There we go. That is the one that I was looking for. That is when Pat and I will be joined by 6 other Broncos content creators. We will have those names for you when they are finalized, but it will be a little bit of a draft special. So make sure you tune in next week and 2 weeks' time. And then guess what, Pat? The show after that will be right before the NFL draft, which means that we can give our final opinions. It's finally going to start picking up until we hit another dead time in May. Anything else before we get the people out of here, Pat? Any final words of wisdom aside from the fact that everyone should take creatine?
Go Broncos. Can't wait for this draft. Going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. I'm glad that the Broncos are good again. Go Broncos.
Amen.
Hey, feel I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and